December 1968, a young couple parks on a quiet road overlooking a lake. Minutes later, they're both shot dead. The killer disappears into the night. 7 months later, he strikes again, and then again. But here's the twist. This killer doesn't just murder people and vanish. He writes letters to newspapers, taunting the police, threatening to kill more, and sending coded ciphers that he claims will reveal his identity. He even gives himself a name, the Zodiac. And over 50 years later, we still don't know who he was. Welcome back, everyone. SiR.ReapeR here. Today we're covering arguably the most famous unsolved murder case in American history. The Zodiac Killer terrorized the San Francisco Bay Area for years, killed at least 5 people, possibly many more, and turned his crimes into a twisted game with law enforcement and the media. His letters, his ciphers, his symbols, all designed to taunt and terrify. Let's break down one of the most chilling serial killer cases ever. December 20th, 1968, Lake Herman Road, a remote lover's lane in Benicia, California. 17-year-old David Faraday and 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen were on their first date, parked in David's station wagon. Around 11 p.m., someone approached the car. David was shot in the head at point-blank range. Betty Lou tried to run but was shot 5 times in the back. Both were killed. There were no witnesses, no clear motive, and no suspects. Police had almost nothing to go on. It seemed like a random attack, but it was actually the beginning of something far more sinister. 7 months later, on July 4th, 1969, the killer struck again. This time in Vallejo, at Blue Rock Springs Park. 22-year-old Darlene Ferrin and 19-year-old Mike Mago were sitting in Darlene's car when another vehicle pulled up beside them. The driver got out, shined a flashlight in their faces, and opened fire with a 9mm handgun. Darlene was killed. Mike was shot multiple times but miraculously survived, though he was unable to provide a clear description of the attacker. About 40 minutes after the shooting, someone called the Vallejo Police Department. A calm, emotionless male voice said he wanted to report a double murder. He gave the location, then added something chilling. He also wanted to report a murder from last year on Lake Herman Road. Then he hung up. The killer was taking credit for both attacks. On August 1st, 1969, 3 newspapers in the Bay Area, the San Francisco Chronicle, San Francisco Examiner, and Vallejo Times-Herald, each received a letter. The letters contained details about the murders that only the killer would know. But that wasn't all. Each letter also included 1/3 of a 408-character cipher, a cryptogram made up of strange symbols. The killer demanded the newspapers print his letters and cipher on the front page, or he would go on a killing spree and murder a dozen people over the weekend. He signed the letters with a symbol, a circle, with a cross through it. This was the beginning of the Zodiac's twisted game. The newspapers published the cipher. On August 8th, a schoolteacher named Donald Harden and his wife Betty cracked it. The message was disturbing. It read, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is that when I die I will be reborn in paradise, and all the people I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife." The last 18 characters remained unsolved and are believed to be filler or possibly contain the killer's name. Rearranged. September 27th, 1969. Lake Berryessa, a popular recreation area. 20-year-old Brian Hartnell and 22-year-old Cecilia Shepard were having a picnic when a man approached them. He was wearing a bizarre costume, a black executioner's hood with a white circle and cross symbol on the chest. He was carrying a gun and a knife. He claimed to be an escaped convict who needed their car and money. He tied them up, then suddenly began stabbing them both repeatedly. Brian was stabbed 6 times but survived. Cecilia was stabbed 10 times and died 2 days later. Before leaving, the killer walked to Brian's car and drew his symbol on the door, along with the dates of his previous attacks and this one. 2 weeks later, October 11th, 1969, the Zodiac killed again. 29-year-old taxi driver Paul Stein picked up a passenger in San Francisco. He was shot once in the head at point-blank range. The killer then tore off a piece of Paul's blood-stained shirt and took it as a trophy. 3 teenagers witnessed part of the crime and called police. Describing the suspect as a white male, around 5 feet 8 inches to 5 feet 10, stocky build, wearing glasses. Police arrived within minutes and actually stopped a man matching the description near the scene. But due to a miscommunication about the suspect's race, they let him go. The Zodiac had nearly been caught. Days later, the San Francisco Chronicle received a letter containing a piece of Paul Stine's blood-stained shirt as proof. The Zodiac mocked the police for letting him slip away, saying he had been standing on the corner watching as they searched the area. He threatened to shoot out the tires of a school bus and pick off the children as they came out. This letter terrified the entire Bay Area. Over the next few years, the Zodiac sent more letters, at least 18 confirmed letters in total. He taunted police, threatened more violence, and sent additional ciphers. In November 1969, he sent his most famous cipher, the 340-character cipher, known as the Z340. Unlike the first cipher, this one remained unsolved for over 50 years. It wasn't cracked until December 2020, when a team of codebreakers finally decoded it. The message was rambling and didn't reveal his identity, but it confirmed his obsession with the afterlife and his victims becoming his slaves. In his final confirmed letter in 1974, the Zodiac claimed to have killed 37 people. Police were only able to confirm 5 murders definitively: David Faraday, Betty Lou Jensen, Darlene Ferrin, Cecilia Shepard, and Paul Stine. However, many investigators believe he was responsible for other unsolved murders and attacks in the area, possibly including the 1966 murder of Sherry Jo Bates in Riverside. So who was the Zodiac Killer? Thousands of suspects have been investigated over the decades. Arthur Lee Allen was the most famous suspect, a convicted child molester who matched the physical description, owned similar weapons, and had suspicious behavior. Witnesses placed him near crime scenes, but DNA evidence later seemed to exclude him. In 2021, a group called the Casebreakers claimed they identified the Zodiac as Gary Francis Post, a deceased criminal, but law enforcement has not confirmed this. Other suspects have included Richard Gaikowski, Lawrence Kane, and even a possible connection to the Unabomber Ted Kaczynski. Despite DNA evidence, fingerprints, and eyewitness descriptions, no one has ever been definitively identified as the Zodiac. What makes this case so haunting is the Zodiac's control over the narrative. He turned murder into theater, making himself the star. He dictated when information was released, kept the public in fear, and made law enforcement look powerless. His ciphers suggested he was intelligent and methodical. His costumes and symbols showed he wanted to be remembered, and his letters revealed someone who genuinely enjoyed the attention and the fear he created. The Zodiac Killer represents something terrifying. A murderer who was never caught, despite leaving behind evidence, witnesses, and his own confessions. He got away with it. He probably lived the rest of his life knowing he'd outsmarted everyone. And somewhere in California, there may be someone who knows the truth, but has never come forward. The case remains open. The San Francisco Police Department, FBI, and amateur sleuths continue investigating. With advances in DNA technology and genetic genealogy, there's hope that one day we'll finally know who the Zodiac was. But until then, his identity remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in criminal history. So what do you think? Was it Arthur Lee Allen, Gary Francis Post, someone we've never even considered? And do you think the case will ever truly be solved? Let me know your theories in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Zodiac Killer, smash that like button, subscribe for more true crime content, and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos, and remember, some monsters hide in plain sight. I'll see you in the next one.